just to reiterate Aoife's words, I'm delighted to see you all here today in London for the Think Global Travel Forum. I'm delighted to have two wonderful speakers, Tom Ratzke from the International Hotel Group, the Intercontinental Hotel Group, forgive me, and Alberto Ferraro from the Emirates Group. The concept of thinking globally at the moment may appear to be a little bit out of step with some of the political events that we see around Europe and perhaps the rest of the world. A lot of the political discourse has highlighted divergent views that could possibly impact globalization strategies for a lot of our customers and in a lot of your markets. I think it's fair to say that uncertainty would characterize the current state of affairs. And as we all know, uncertainty is something that business doesn't like. However, in terms of the travel industry, it doesn't seem to have dampened the level of growth. So just forgive me, I'm going to quote a few stats that I came across in the last couple of weeks. The busiest airport in the world last year was in Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson. It put through 107 million passengers in 2018. Now that's up 3% from the previous year. Now 3% sounds kind of small. When you actually work that out, that's an extra 10,000 people a day through that airport. Okay? The top 20 airports in the world in terms of passenger traffic put through 1.5 billion people last year. The forecasted growth, short-term growth, by the World Airport Authorities for the next 5 years, from 2018 to 2023, is 30%. Okay? Chicago's O'Hare Airport. It is the largest airport in terms of airport movements. And for those of us that aren't airport anoraks, that means takeoff and landings. Now, Chicago Airport has over 900,000 movements a year. That's an airplane taking off once every 35 seconds. Okay? So what does all of this mean for the travel industry? And for you guys in terms of connecting and communicating with your customers? You have an industry that is growing at a phenomenal rate, and that in some ways is fragmenting also in terms of the demands of its customers. The diversity within that market isn't simply anymore geos and language. It's way beyond that. There's a document produced in the States every year called The Profile of the American Traveler. It's put together by a very large American travel advertising bureau called MMGY. And they looked at last year, 2018, and that document asked a few questions of its survey. And some of the interesting points that came out of it were this. 1 in 4 people expect to travel alone next year. Okay? Between 2016 and 2017, the number of people traveling under the profile of a single female traveler went up 50%. Okay? Airbnb surveyed its millennials in the US, China, and the UK and found that over half of them prioritized travel over owning a home or buying a car. Okay? So what we have here is a rapidly growing market that is fragmenting and segmenting across a huge diversity of factors. The customer is becoming way more discerning. They're demanding experiences to satisfy themselves, and the pace of that is quite breathtaking, really. So how do you deal with that? Well, from a globalization perspective, you've got two huge challenges. You've got a breadth and level of growth in terms of sheer volume that requires a technology solution to service that volume. It's simply not possible to do it without a robust technology solution. There are plenty of them out there, but it is absolutely essential in a market of this size. The next piece of the puzzle is, I suppose, the non-technology bit, and which I would say is the tougher bit. How do you address the diversity factors and not just the geos? How do you communicate with your consumers and your travelers in a way that is meaningful to them? And not just in terms of, you know, is it mobile, is it voice, is it video, is it chatbots? How do you actually identify what it is, what experience it is that they want? You have to interact with your customers in a manner that gets to them, both in the technical sense that you can reach them, but also in an objective sense that you can provide them with the experiences that they are looking for. Now, those are two crucial pieces of a globalization strategy. And I think that's where Vistatec can step in and help. The technical bit, it's a given at this stage. If you can't provide your customers with a robust, scalable, timely technical solution, well, you're probably out of business already. The linguistic bit and the cultural differences bit, well, that's a lot tougher. And we have a lot of experience in building those programs for some of the largest brands around the world, and I'm sure that we will continue to do that and continue to support them. For me, of all of the verticals that we cover here in the forums, the travel one is probably one of the most fascinating, okay? There are no boundaries other than your customers' imaginations as to what they want to do. Like, if you think about it, you have people out there whose idea of a travel experience is camping for a weekend. And it goes all the way to the other guy who wants to go base jumping off a mountain. You have people who want to go to the moon. And these are all real things that real experiences that people want. So in terms of a market, it is so segmented and so diverse. Globalization has already happened, and it's now how you achieve meaningful and impactful communication with them. And that is the challenge, I feel, for the travel industry at the moment. It is a pleasure for us to be involved in these forums, and it is a source of pride, actually, and may I say, great expense, more than I ever thought as the CEO, to see the level of interest and interaction in these forums. It is a tribute to the marketing team in Vistatec, and I'm very proud of that. We are determined that these forums remain meaningful and impactful. It's not a beauty pageant. We expect and we hope that you leave these forums a little better informed and perhaps even a little bit more challenged than when you arrived. It is about thought leadership. And how can we best influence this concept of going global? The answer is by making people think global before they start. Okay? Thank you very much.